Good evening, everybody. It's great to be with you. Greetings from, I can't say sunny Dunedin. The spring rains have arrived, which the farmers are very happy about. The students aren't quite so happy about, but they should be studying at this time anyway. It's great to join you. I think it's been over a year since I was last with Prayers One. So it's great to reconnect with you all, and I'm just so grateful that you're praying for Otago. I'm going to share a bit of a reflection from Isaiah 61, which it's a passage I've been camped in basically through lockdown for the last month or so, and believing that this isn't just a word for our church or Otago, but believing that this might be a word for all of the country, really. But I'm so grateful for your prayers for us down in Otago. So I just want to start by reading from Isaiah 61, the first 4 verses, a familiar passage to many of us. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favour and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and to provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated. They will renew the ruined cities that have been devastated for generations. It's a passage, of course, that was fulfilled by Jesus 2,000 years ago. But I guess what I've been praying about and reflecting on this passage, what would it look like if God was to anoint us afresh to fulfill this prophecy in our day in New Zealand at this time? And that phrase, the ruined cities, to restore the ruin, to renew the ruined cities, to build up the broken cities, that word really resonates with me. And as I look around my city in Dunedin, but not just Dunedin and Wanaka and Oamaru, as I look around all the cities around our Western culture, I can see it crumbling in many respects. We've been doing our best to unpack and destroy the Judeo-Christian foundations that we were built on, and now we're seeing the impact of that. The gods of progress and technology and mammon and self, they're quietly or not so quietly destroying us. And that's been taking place for at least 250 years, but I think in our generation, and even in the last 5 years, it's accelerated, and we need a move of God to restore the ruined cities. And Isaiah speaks this word of hope into a kind of a desolate picture, I guess. We are anointed to preach good news to the poor, freedom for the captives and the prisoner, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And this is the language of Jubilee. You know, it's the language of Leviticus 25. It's the language of freedom. And I'm beginning to pray and beginning to ask the Lord, what if you were asking us, the church, not just in Dunedin, but in New Zealand, to declare a year of Jubilee? And maybe 2022 is that. We're in a lot of bondage at the moment. And what if the Lord was asking us to announce that year of Jubilee? So we're called to proclaim the gospel that Jesus fulfilled, and we're also sent to bind up the brokenhearted, to bestow beauty and joy and praise, to rebuild and renew the ruined cities. And then Isaiah uses this amazing imagery that we will be called oaks of righteousness. And I just love the picture of oaks of righteousness. You know, when the storms come down in Otago, when the storms come, the pine trees blow over, the macrocarpus blow over, but the oak trees stand strong because their roots go down deeper than all the other trees. And that's the image that the Lord uses here of us putting our roots down deep into his words, and we'll be oaks of righteousness. What an amazing picture. As I look around my city, Dunedin, I see a number of churches that have bowed down to the spirit of the age, not the least in terms of the attack on the family. We're chasing after many gods. We're denying our Lord Jesus Christ, and we need to seek his mercy. We need to seek his grace. Internationally, the Lutherans in the last few weeks, or at least in the last couple of months, have appointed their first transgender bishop in the Lutheran Church of USA, and that's just adding to the confusion of the age. A local church here in Dunedin, I won't name what church it is, but on their Facebook page, praying to 4 different gods, including 2 Hindu gods. And so this is the kind of age that's the compromise that is adding to the ruined cities, I guess we might say. 12 months ago, or at least in July last year, the Dunedin churches got together and we started praying together in unity. And we've once a month, the first Wednesday of the month, we're praying, and we're calling it United in Prayer. And the focus of that prayer meeting has been to pray for an awakening. And it's really twofold: an awakening to our own desperate need of salvation, but a deeper awakening to God's mercy and to God's grace that's so beautifully articulated here in Isaiah 61. So I guess, I've been praying, what if God has anointed us to announce a jubilee, to announce the freedom? What if 2022 was that year that we're called to announce this freedom for the captives and for the prisoner, to proclaim good news to the poor, significantly to announce the year of the Lord's favor? That the church in Otago, but not just the church in Otago, the church up and down this country, could be known as oaks of righteousness, a planting for the display of his splendor. What's it going to require? Well, it's going to require us getting down on our knees, doing what we're doing tonight. It's going to involve the church being bold in its proclamation. It's going to involve the church being active in its witness as it's been called to from the beginning: proclamation and the ministry of the words and the ministry of deed, getting out there and living out this gospel message. So I guess my encouragement to us tonight is to continue to pray for that awakening of our desperate need of God's grace, an awakening to the deeper reality of his mercy and grace in our lives. And just asking that question, asking of the Lord, believing of the Lord that the time is right to announce that year of the Lord's favor, the Jubilee. So, the Lord bless you in your praying tonight. May this word shape us, not just tonight, but in the coming days and months.